Warning, this video contains rumors, speculation, strong opinions, and
Hey, Max here. I just got back from the Batman, so here is your warning. This review will have plenty of spoilers, and this is from the perspective of a massive Snyder fan. So how this is going to work, I'm going to give you 10 minutes, my thoughts. It's not going to be well organized because I'm not. And then at the end of the 10 minutes, I'm going to give you my overall rating out of 10. My initial thoughts are, wow, am I shocked that I like this film this much? I knew I was going to like it. I love this film. I love everything about it. There's personality and everything. Every character, every setting, every gadget, every vehicle is not wasted on this film. I love the camera angles. I think that there are some better filmographers, but I love how much it takes you into being the Batman. It's like first-person Batman. To the emotion, this is a tortured Batman. I would almost say this is Bruce Begins, not Batman Begins, Bruce Begins. And again, spoiler warning, because towards this, he has been Batman for a while. This is like year 2 Batman. And now he's beginning to realize that he has to finally wear a mask, and it's called Bruce Wayne, and how he could maybe even get more things done as the Batman if he plays the character of Bruce. You're not going to see this is all subtle acting. Pattinson does great. He is in the costume. He is Batman the whole film, and he dabbles in Bruce. So be prepared for that. And I fully suspect this potential sequel, the sequel to be elaborating on him putting on the mask of Bruce Wayne, because he is broken, tortured, emotionally. He does not care if he dies. That's one of his lines. I don't care. And he thinks that's the way that he is going to be the Batman and take care of crime and honor his family's legacy, let alone finding out, again, spoilers, that his family legacy is tainted and everything is connected. All the villains are, they have a reason to be there. They're not just to sell toys or to drag you in. Everything has substance, is relevant, and there's a lot of impact for where this could go in the future. And I hope it does, not just also Batman sequels, that it does have a whole Batman world. I really do. The other characters, the Penguin, the Riddler, and Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman. Amazing performances. I have to say, out of all those three, my definitive Catwoman, my definitive Penguin, and my definitive Riddler. I like Riddler, but I'm not a fan of the super campy Riddler. It has its place. It has its time and place. This is how you make the Riddler scary and real world, and bring him into this universe and make him a real threat instead of just a joke. And yes, you do get a detective story. You feel like you're on the journey with Batman. You feel like you're in the Batmobile with the camera angles. Is it the best filming of action sequences ever? No, but it oozes style. The soundtrack oozes style. Everything brings you right in. The soundtrack, the directorial decisions, perfect. Also, I have to say, my favorite Gordon as well. My favorite Gordon. There's a lot of great Gordon actors playing Gordon in past films. But I like how involved he was and how the stakes were extremely high for him as well. There is the only thing that I was did where it did not surpass my expectations is potentially some of the action. The action is visceral, you feel it. There's just not as much there, but when it is there, it's impactful and everything's believable. This story is believable, and I like how the Riddler's story is so intertwined with the Batman. I like how Catwoman's story is so intertwined with the Batman. I like how it all ties together. And I like to watch a lot of other reviewers. The other major concern was that there was a lot. This is a lengthy film. I didn't feel it at all. My bladder felt it. I did not want to leave at all. And I don't think there's a waste of space. I think every single scene needed to be in here. I would have liked to maybe more seen some of the the bat cycle. But what was there was cool. And the introduction of the future of Batman. This also, I think, is the most that Gotham itself is a character. It's a complicated past. It's explored, and I can't wait to see what they do for the future. The Easter eggs for the potential sequels down the line. That is the only thing I'm not like 100% behind yet. A spoiler warning again. There are hints at the Joker. He is in Arkham Asylum already, and the Riddler finds a friend. Now I want to also talk about what also makes a great superhero film for me is the Riddler. So I do want to go to Paul Dano's performance. I also heard concerns where it was maybe a little bit over the top. These are tortured people that do this. He has mental illness, definitely. His history, how he grew up, is very tied to Bruce, and it shows. And also, the scene I love the most is when Batman is confronting the Riddler in Arkham Asylum, and the mask is off, and he really showed the acting in there was great. He shows that he thought about this. He had grand ambitions and expectations of his head, and how even Batman may have inspired other people. So the way the Batman's been doing things in the past may not be the way for the future. He's got to change. He's got to now put on the mask as Bruce Wayne, and the way it impacts the world of Gotham is also really interesting. So this is a great launching part. It's an origin story without being an origin story because it didn't do the usual thing with Batman. It did it in really wonderful and interesting ways to introduce the character that he's been doing this for a while, but still deal with all the baggage that Bruce has, and that he thought. I love the revelation that he thought he knew what he was doing. He thought he didn't care if he lived or died. And that is not good enough. That's not good enough anymore. To really make a change and to really bring hope back to this city. He not only just, he can't just say, he can't be potentially even selfish. I don't care if I live or die. He has to be concerned about everyone surrounding him. Alfred, the city, and the future, and what influence the Batman has. So we are approaching the 10-minute mark, and I told you I'd give a score, and I have to say, I still like other parts of Batman films better than this, and I still think overall Ben Affleck may still be my favorite Batman, But I would say this, I believe, on first watching, is my favorite Batman film. And I will give it a score out of 10, 10 out of 10. I think with the world and the way the that Matt Reeves is introducing this character in the film and the setting and everything involved, it exceeds, it surpasses all expectations. It sets up an interesting world, a different take, and I can't wait to see what they do next. And I don't know exactly what they're gonna go next, except for the characters that are gonna appear in the sequel. But what's gonna happen with Bruce? Because he's had some really great revelations in this, and he doesn't have anything figured out. And then the city, there's a there's a cleansing, a literal cleansing of the city, and how this world is going to deal with that is very intriguing. So I hope you liked my 10-minute review. I'm being honest. I am open to watching it again. And I'm going to cut it off here, but I'm going to bring in some other friends to talk about it and see what we think about the Batman together. And I'm going to do right here. That's going to be the cutout for my spoiler review. And I'm going to bring on Aaron